Final round 18, Scott Popular, and this man right here. I personally know this guy, but I kind of consider you as the Jacob the Jeweler of the video game community. But I'm gonna let you introduce yourself.
I'm DCB Curtis, or aka DCB Sixshot of Dynamic Custom Beadworks.
Alright, and that's it. But tell us people a little bit about your origins. How did you come into the FGC before the beadwork?
Before the beadwork, I'm from North Jersey originally, so I was born and bred in the arcade scene. So before the whole FGC, you know, you had your local arcades, you know, go up there, play games, you know, the original money match at a corner. Then you lost, you held your salt to think about that, waiting the end of the line. But officially, I got into the FGC, I want to say in 2011. Okay. Officially, I was out of games due to deaths in the family. Lost my mom, my dad, and my grandmother in a 4-year span. So mine wasn't on games. Yeah. It was on getting stuff together and getting my mind right. So about 2011, I came back into the scene. I moved down to Delaware in 2008 and found out that my local scene, my local DE had an established scene in Tekken with Nostradamus, Ninja CW, Ray, and Boog. They play Tekken in the DR days, go traveling around. So I hooked up with them and just been rolling with them since. And been going down to Xanadu down in the DMV area, hanging out with Coop and Rugal, and got introduced, and going out to tournaments, getting introduced to Eric Small, Larry, L.I. Joe, Johnny, you know, the whole fam, just getting introduced to everybody. And I would only enter Street Fighter, Skullgirls, King of Fighters, and that would be it. And I wouldn't do so hot, and I wouldn't be too mad about it, because I'm not really into playing like I once was. But I would come up, the whole mantra with me was I would make more money side betting with people than actually playing. Right. So I figured, all right, I'll still play casually, but I'm going in the mental of the side hustle.
Oh, that's not bad.
And everyone just looks at me like, you're just gonna side hustle the whole tournament? I'm like, yeah, because I'm like, I work a 9 to 5, but I got extra money to play around with, so I'm just gonna side hustle. And turned out the side hustle, I could generate enough to make my whole weekend on other people's money, which I'm not gonna be mad about. I'm like, hey, this weekend's on them. Okay. I'm like, just collecting, you know, so.
I mean, that's what you have to do.
And I tell people, I was like, everyone knows my last name is Betts, and I tell people, I'm like, my last name is just not my last name. It's a way of life for me.
It's like Creflo Dollar.
Exactly.
So it's the same.
Exactly.
The name means something.
Mm-hmm.
But let's go back into the names before I, go into your actual your gamer tag. We know what the Dynamic Custom Beads part is, but you also chose Sixshot. So do you consider yourself more Autobot or Deceptive?
I'm more Decepticon, because I always support the villains. I'm that person. I'm not like, look, the good guys, they don't have as much fun as the villains do. You know, that's my whole thing. I was like, man, being the villain makes me kind of cool, but I'm not about that life with them consequences and stuff. Okay. So even I have my limits. I believe I'm a true neutral.
Chaotic neutral.
Chaotic neutral.
Okay,
yeah. Let me go with chaotic neutral. But I have one loyalty, and that's to the almighty pocket myself. So I'm like, Scott, we could be the best of friends, but if money on the line, friendship's on hold, man. Okay. That's just how it is with me, man.
That's cool. But now you're actually giving back to the community a little bit more, and with this whole custom beadwork. Mm-hmm. Now, before, because like right now we're in the age of like the new engines, and everything's giving you those nice fresh graphics. There was the sprites. Mm-hmm. Now, did you actually dabble in actual sprite pixel work before and then go into this, or what actually? How did this come to be?
What happened was I was at a tournament, and I won't say what tournament. Okay, right. I'm not gonna put that person on blast or anything. Right, but I was at a tournament and I saw a person selling stuff that was doing, and selling beads and other stuff, and I bought something from him, and I was like, okay, this is actually pretty cool. I was like, all right, I see how this can get done. And then I just did some, me being me, I did some research, and I brought it home to my fiance, and then she looked at it. And my fiance, she's real artsy and talented, so I can't take credit for everything that is done. She designs 100% everything.
That's a good way to save your ass.
I have my input and stuff, but she's my R&D, research and development. She designs everything. Right. She looks at it, she's like, you know I can make this, right? So I was like, okay, so let's put a little money in. Let's go buy some beads at your local Harvey store. We have a Joann's and a Michael's, so we bought, I think, a couple packs of beads and started making stuff. And it was trial and error. Okay. You know how everything is. You know, if you're not going to get it right the first time, you got to do it over and over again. Right. So, go to Joann's, got the beads. Then we started making things. I was like, I asking my friends in my in-house scene, I'm like, yo, how's this look? It's like, yeah, it looks good, you know? And this is before we done, you know, I consider the old stuff is like my Atari 2600 beads, because you can look, my Atari 2600 beads to what I do now, night and day. Right. Because I was using different brands and I didn't know no better. Right. So now I just stick with a single brand and iron everything out, and everything looks really, really good. But my wife was the ultimate say-so and saying, hey, we can do this. And it just started as a little side income. It wasn't just nothing main. It was just like $200 here and there, you know, still both of us still working. And then I want to say, actually, final round last year was when both of us decided, like, hey, we can make a living off of this because we have enough contacts in the community. Let's see what we can do. So we both were working full-time at Amazon, full benefits and everything, straight 40 hours a week, sometimes 50 because of overtime. And I took that step. I was like, look, you got to say you can at least fail at something. You know, you got to try. Right. So I was like, I'm going to try this, and if it don't work, then I can go back to Amazon, no problem, or go back to my other industry. I was like, I'm just going to see what this is all about. And I told her, had that big conversation, like, hey.
Big powwow.
I'm like, I'm thinking about leaving my job full-time because we're making ends meet and having extra, and I need you on board for this. And if you don't feel comfortable, then we'll keep doing it. And lucky for her, I'm fortunate enough that she believed in me. And that's where we are. Final round last year, first time we're like on our own. Like that was the first time DCB was back. We were like doing everything 100%, no job or anything, just fully invested in the business. And coming final round 18 now, still on our own.
But everything's good. That's a good thing. I mean, it's great to have someone behind you to support you. And while you were doing this, did you run into any obstacles? Was there anything like that was tough, but you overcame?
There was a couple obstacles here and there because the bead stuff. There's no real there's copyright laws and there's not copyright laws. Okay. Because case in point, like Nintendo had an open thing that said their characters can be used in any type of media, art, or whatever. Right. Then you have to go through like gray areas because some of the Capcom stuff is kind of trademarked. But then I started to like dip and dabble into other sorts of Capcom, like the Street Fighter stuff, to make it different from the other stuff that you see out there. And the other thing about us was we're pretty much the one company out there that everyone knows that will have a full roster of any video of any game that's out there. People know me in advance, like, hey, you got this roster? I'm like, you already know I got it. Yeah. Like, cause I know you're from Japan, you know Japan gets everything all first, and that's how my scene is. My scene is really big on anime. Right. So they're always importing, they have their Japanese PSNs, they're always importing all the anime stuff day one. So fortunate for them, I'm like, cool, bring the console over to the house real quick. Let me see what characters are. Let me see all the colors. Let me get my photos. So when people ask me at the next major we go to, like, hey, do you got this? I'm like, got this.
All right, so you're prepared.
We're already prepared.
Okay. And so in the future, what kind of new products do you think is going to come out? Or what would you like to make?
Well, you know, we're in an 8-bit thing, and you know, graphics go from 8 to 16. So I'm looking into like some 16-bit, more detailed sprites. Also, I do the LED work, as you know. Work with Matt Gummo. Okay. That was a big powwow on that because Gummo and I are pretty much two other well-traveled people, like well-traveled sponsored people of on the East Coast. Because every time I'm at an event on the East, he's always there. And we had a discussion back at UFGT 10 about what we wanted to do, like a joint business venture together. And Gummo was like, hey, think I know what we want to do together. I was like, what's that? He's like, I want to LED up your sprites. And that just blew my mind because he's like, I haven't seen it out there. And I'm like, I haven't seen that out there either. I was like, let me start you off with two off the bat that I know people will recognize, and that's the Jury with the light up eye and then Kuma with the Tens logo.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
So I did those, and we introduced those at Evo last year, and everyone just lost their mind when they walked by the booth and saw that. People doing double shakes and looking, they're like, what is that? Is that actually lit up? Like, let me get that. And I sold out of them because we only made like 5, 6, you know, because it was like, all right, so we know what we can do here now. Gummo and I have another couple projects that
top secret
stuff for right now that him and I are looking to do because, you know, he does some sick mod stuff, and I'm like, we're gonna explore some stuff between the stick. Little teaser thing. We're gonna explore some stuff with stick mod parts and beads. So
hey, keep me posted.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because personally, NASIR created these earrings for me, these Ghost Monster earrings, and they're fly, extremely fly. But I didn't know how fly they were until I actually wore them in Tokyo and had girls like damn near try to rip my head off for these. So I was like, okay, this is good quality product, and they like it a lot, and it's super cute. So that's pretty cool. But what I want to say is this: thank you for giving back to the community.
No, I always do, man, because I'm like, without the community, I wouldn't be anywhere, you know. So I feel obligated to throw pot bonus here, throw equipment toward people, you know. It is what it is, because I'm like, without the community, end of the day, I would still be at Amazon doing my 9 to 5 or 10-hour gig and not doing this. So the community continues to support, and I make myself openly available to everyone because people think I'm all non-approachable and stuff. I make myself easily accessible. I'm like, you need me, just reach out. I tell people that. I don't care. Like, people hit me up at like 4 a.m. I'm still wide awake, working.
Yeah, I'm sorry when I called you because I think you were sleeping.
No, you weren't. I was wide awake. Okay, I just sound a little. I'm just chilling. Okay. People hit me up. I'm like, I'm awake, man. What you need?
Hey, so you're always ready.
Hey,
I'm
always ready.
So, last thing, what does Final Round mean to you?
What does Final Round mean to me? Final Round is one of the most hypest majors in the whole country. To me, it means a place where you got your people from not just your Americans, but your international people that can come out, compete, showcase their skills off to everyone around. And on top of that, it's a community, so we all get together and have fun with one another. You know, that's my whole thing. Because, I mean, this is my 3rd Final Round. And this is, like, my favorite major. This is literally my favorite major to attend. And when people ask me what major should I attend, the first thing I'm like, tell them go to Final Round. I was like, Final Round is a place where you want to go because there's so many people that travel from all over. And certain cases you won't get games with certain people. I'm like, hey, go here, pick people's brain. They ask them a couple questions. They might even sit down and play some games with you. Because some people is real open about like, hey, I'll play you, no problem. Other people a little bit reserved, but that's the hustle. That's the hustle. Yeah, but other than that, I really enjoy Final Round. Shout out to Larry, Shonda, you, Frank, G's, Mel, you know, the whole family, Jax. That's family. Right. I tell y'all can hit me up. I'll come out, no problem.
So are you coming out to Tokyo?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna try. That's what's as soon as we get our passports, I'm hitting you up. I'm like, hey Scott, man. I'm gonna get on this plane. I'm gonna need you to help a brother out. Okay, you know,
you better be ready to run because once you start selling them LEDs in Tokyo,
hey,
You better be ready to roll.
I told you. You just let me know what to bring, and I got you.
All right, then. Well, that's Final Round 18. Scott Popular. If you want custom jewelry, custom beads, hit him up. As you can see, he got pieces. He's ready at all times, y'all. Final round.